Welcome to the Lawmakers channel. I'm the only source. The world is a mirror. There's nothing to seek outside of me. Now, all that I want to be. Claim it. In this channel, I'm starting this to discuss about station. I'll share my experience and all the knowledge I've gained over a decade of learning about law of attraction, manifestation from many different sources, scientific, ancient texts, a lot of other stuff. But I want to be clear and upfront. There are many things about spirituality, like achieving different states like nirvana, mystical experiences, and those are all great. But now is more gonna focus on how our consciousness affects the 3D reality. So without further ado, uh, address the topic at hand today, and that is what is manifestation? Manifestation is nothing more than the 3D reality mirroring your identity in the only now moment that exists. I'll repeat it. Manifestation is nothing more than the 3D reality mirroring your identity in the only now moment that exists. If you truly get that, if you're able to apply that, I'm sure you have no problems with your manifestation. Each and every manifestation should be coming true. However, even if we know it, understand theoretically, sometimes applying it is not that easy. And where it trips us most of the time is not the identity, it's the time. Before we get into the concept of time, I want to quickly address the thing about identity. So basically, what this 3D reality is simply doing is it is showing us or reflecting whatever assumptions we hold. Now, these assumptions are about ourselves and about our realities that we live in. So, and then the assumptions means you believe them to be true. And that's why you don't have anything in your reality that you don't believe, right? You might say, yeah, no, I actually saw it first and then I believed. Well, you might look at somebody else's reality and you might think, oh, that's unbelievable. And then the vice versa is true as well. But you don't have anything in your life that's unbelievable, at least for a consistent amount of time. Like you might get a surprise somewhere here or there. And usually the surprises don't last long, like even if it's good or bad, because you see your essential concept that you hold is what is being reflected. Sometimes you might temporarily, get into a different identity which you couldn't hold and might have something very negative or positive. But then it comes to a sort of a balance, like a stable state, right? So that's what's about identity, and there's a lot to work with identity. But I want to discuss the more difficult part today, and that is time. You see, if we did not experience time in a distorted manner, the way we do in 3D reality, I'm sure no one would argue that manifestation is real. It would probably be very quantitative, where whatever we believe to be true would almost instantly show up. Like we would know, yeah, this is in the 3D reality. But the because we experience time the way we do, and I'll get to why we do it that way in a moment, but uh, this is what is the difficult part to understand manifestation because it might take time, but you're supposed to think about time in a very specific manner. So now let's debunk what is time. Time is dimension, okay? And as per Einstein's theory, time should be behaving like space, right? It- What I mean by that is all time exists at the same time, just like all space exists at the same time. So you should have been able to move back and forth between time. For example, if you went from your bedroom to the living room, you have no problem going back to the bedroom. But for time, that doesn't happen. It seems like it's always moving forward. We cannot walk backwards. Scientific research, as well as many ancient and spiritual texts, show us that we experience time in a very different manner. There's a lot of controversy of time, and why this happens essentially is because our 3D reality is a projection of a higher dimension. Okay, so imagine you are casting a shadow of an object. Okay, let's say it's an object. Uh, Maybe for my filter you can see that, but yeah, you see an object. I'm putting it here, and what's happening now is you're like seeing the light fall on the object, and then you're probably observing um, some of the shadow. Now the shadow itself, the object, it's not a reflection, it's a projection, but you can look at it in a way as if it's a reflection, and we will don't get complicated on that right now, but uh, this shadow that you see, it's a distorted image of the main object, right? So because our reality is like a shadow of a higher dimension, the one of the dimensions that we experience is time, and we experience it in a distorted fashion. We think time is always passing, whereas all time exists at the same time. Okay. There's no past, future, present. There's only now. Just space. All space remains stable all at the same time. So why is it important for manifestation? The reason is within all time, there exists all possibilities, infinite time. Now, when you manifest something, because the 3D reality is reflecting our identity, you need to believe that you have it right now, because there's an identity that's waiting to see it happen. Now, if I want something and I'm just looking for it, like to see what the results are, it's not, I'm just tuning into the identity that shows me I'm just waiting. So there's a lot of waiting possibilities, the way of waiting that I can identify as. And whenever I jump into that, manifestation gets ruined. Now you can, within the waiting period, you can have certain levels of doubts and change your identity, eventually ruining the whole manifestation. So this is what trips it up, that experiencing it now, believing and assuming it that you have it right now. But I'm going to give you an analogy here that's probably going to clear your perspective very well. Imagine I'm holding a candle in front of a mirror. I light up the candle, but you're looking at the reflection of the mirror. You do realize that every moment the reflection on the mirror has burned a little bit less than the actual candle. Why? Because light takes time to travel. While you're looking at the reflection and you see that the candle has burned a little less, does it mean the real candle hasn't really burnt as much as it did? No, right? Just because the reflection isn't something right now doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That's the whole concept. But the difference here is that because you have the capacity to assume any identity, you often look at a reflection and then assume its identity immediately. So the mirror is always adjusting to your identity. So you end up in a loop of I have it. Oh, where is it? I don't have it. And then I have it. You see, so that's why we don't like movement. Okay, if you want to see movement, that's another identity who's just seeing movement. You just want it to be, you want to assume that it's done and that's it, and then hold on to that identity, be loyal, you do not care, because the more you look, you're identifying that it's not here, right? So being detached is important for that reason, because the more you're going to look at the reflection, the more you're going to identify with it, and it's going to get more difficult for you to manage. So I hope this whole thing about how to look at time for manifestation helps you. And we will dive deep into a lot of these nuances about manifesting. Stay tuned if you want to know more.